You love your child. Of course you do. But sometimes you don't like them. You wouldn't say that out loud. You barely let yourself think it. But it sneaks in the form of annoyance, irritability, and then you think to yourself, I can't stand being around them. I need a minute. They're too much. They're too intense. I love them, but I just need a break. And then that's when the guilt kicks in because parents are supposed to always like their kids, right? You start judging yourself before anyone else even can. You're not a bad parent. This is a very real and very valid feeling that, believe it or not, most parents get at some point. So, in today's video, I want to talk to you about why this happens, why even the most loving, devoted parents sometimes feel disconnected and even resentful toward their child, and more importantly, what that feeling is really trying to tell you. Because when you understand where that feeling is coming from, you can stop feeling guilty and start creating a plan that gets you closer to your ideal circumstance. So let's get into it. When you start feeling like you don't like your child, it's probably one of the most heartbreaking things for a parent to feel, and also is rarely about the child. It's about what's happening with you inside. The exhaustion, the constant hypervigilance, the rushing and never stopping, the thousand little things that you hold together that you don't even realize that you are actually holding. It's also the shame telling you good parents don't feel this way, or good parents have it all together. But I will tell you what I tell every parent I work with. Feeling this way does not make you a bad parent. It makes you a burnt out, overwhelmed, and human one. Think about it. Do you like your spouse 100% of the time? Or your mom, dad, your boss 100% of the time? No, you don't. Does that make you a bad husband or a bad wife, a bad daughter, a bad employee? Also no. But for some reason with children, we don't think about it that way, even though it's the exact same thing. So maybe it's not about being a good or a bad parent. Maybe it's just about being human, trying to parent while you're tired, triggered, or stretched too thin. So let's talk about what's really underneath that feeling. I want to help you understand what is happening first, and then I will give you some alternatives or strategies that you can start doing at home right now to better your circumstance. First, you don't actually dislike your child. And let me show you. Here's your child. And here's you. This part right here in the middle, where you guys overlap, this is actually what you dislike. You dislike the situations that bring the worst in both of you. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. You dislike the constant back and forth, the feeling of being ignored or disrespected, the version of yourself that yells or runs out of patience, and at the end of the night, you don't like that. It's not that you've stopped loving your child, it's that you've stopped recognizing yourself. And again, you don't like that. The good news are that there are ways to solve for this. There are usually three main reasons behind this feeling. The first one is stress and burnout. You've been giving and giving and giving without feeling yourself back up. So you're literally running on empty. What happens to a car that runs out of gas? It simply stops working. It turns off. So the same idea applies here. You cannot expect to continue to give when you have nothing left. When you're tired and running on empty, even normal behavior feels unbearable. You start reacting instead of responding. And that's when you start feeling guilty because you are going against what you believe in. Now, here's the important takeaway on this point. That feeling of guilt does not mean anything. It's just information. It's a reminder that it's time to take care of you so you can better care for your loved ones. Number two is unmet expectations. You had an idea of what parenting was, and currently it's not at all what you pictured. You thought you would be the calm, playful mom or dad, and instead you were the one who's saying 20 times, no, stop that, don't do that, before breakfast. So you look at your child and think, this isn't how it's supposed to feel. This isn't how it's supposed to be. That gap between where you are at right now and where you would like to be is very uncomfortable and it hurts. But then again, the good news are that there are ways to solve for that. It is human nature to hyper focus on what's lacking, but we can put in the work to teach ourselves to focus on what we do have. And we can also create a plan to close that gap from where you're at to where you want to be. Reason number 3 is triggers. Sometimes your child's behavior mirrors something in you, a part of your past, your history that you never knew needed attention. Maybe it reminds you of somebody else, like your spouse, your parent, and suddenly you're reacting to your old pain, not your child. It's important to be aware of this because the more you understand your triggers, the more that you can control them. Okay. So now that we understand the reasons why you might feel like you don't like your child, let's talk about why does that matter? Why is this important to know? Before I continue, if you're watching this and it's helpful to you in any way, it would mean a lot if you hit the subscribe button below and share it with a parent who might need to hear this. It's important to know and understand because feeling disconnected from your child isn't a moral failure. It's a signal. It's your brain's way of telling you this relationship does not feel safe or joyful right now. I wanted to bring out a visual because I think it's easier to understand when you see it and how it overlaps. So when you feel burnt out, unmet expectations feel heavier. When unmet expectations are heavier, you are more likely to be triggered. And how the 3 overlap is how you start feeling disconnected from your child. And that's when you start feeling like you don't like your child. This is so important to understand because when you see this dynamic as a signal, it allows you to recognize it and put a plan in place to better your circumstance. Okay, so with all that, here's what you can do this week. Step 1, take a pause. When you feel that I can't stand this moment building up in you, pause. Step out of the room, take a deep breath, and regulate yourself first. This will help you make more rational decisions, not emotional ones. And if you're thinking, that's nice, but 5 minutes alone won't fix years of frustration or everything else, you are right, it will not. But it will give your nervous system a chance to reset so you can make one better decision in the next 5 minutes. And that's where actual change starts to happen. Step 2, notice what's true right now. When you feel resentment, when you feel yourself on the gap that we talked about earlier, try shifting your focus by asking yourself this question: what can I appreciate about my child in this exact moment? It might feel forced at first because you might be thinking, well, there's nothing good right now, but it interrupts the mental loop of negativity and it reminds your brain and your body that not every moment is chaos. So your brain starts to remember there is still good here, and that compounds. Step 3, track your triggers. Write them down. What situation set you off? What gets you annoyed? When do you react the most? That awareness helps you prepare differently next time. So, if there's anything to take away from this video, is this: if you've been feeling like you don't even like your child right now, it's okay to feel that way. You're not failing. This feeling doesn't define you as a parent or as a person. It just points you to what you need to focus your attention on, and it points you in the direction that you need to go. Your exhaustion, your expectations, your triggers. You don't need to be a perfect parent. You just need to be a present one. The one who is willing to say something feels off, I want to understand it, and I want to do something about it. So if this spoke to you, share it, because I promise you there's another parent out there feeling the same way right now, and they need to know that they're not alone.